it will bring those things Immaculate was saying. It's going to cause you stress. You're going to try to, Pastor Grace, you will be so busy with your child. You will refuse to balance this. Oh, I need to go and visit so and so. I need to go to see you. But you're not concentrating on this. So it's going once and once and once. It will end up where Immaculate was telling us.
Okay.
So when I was in a very bad place in my life, when mine was, I think, I don't know what shape, I discovered this way. And I started balancing it slowly. Don't try and do all of it at once. Don't try to score 10 out of 10 in anything. I told you that. Start balancing it at 5. When the wind is rolling at 5, move to 6, isn't it? Move to 7, move to 8, up. When you're at 8.5, you're doing very well. Isn't it? Yeah. But don't try to be 10 out of 10, because look at the areas where you're going out of the circle, they're actually affecting other areas that are low. It's a harmony, it's a balance, isn't it? So now you've done it today, do it again after a month. Because now you know which are the areas. Everybody has different areas they need to be working on, isn't it? For someone it will be spiritual, for another it will be health and fitness, for another it will be finance, but this is really helpful. Because if we don't do it, these are the things that we're going to have. And some of us already have them. Can you count how many you have? Ever write in your notebook, look at body, mind, emotions, and behavior. How many of those are you already displaying? This one we won't show anybody. Just write them, the ones that you have from each section. There's a time I took this somewhere, there's someone who just stood up and told me, excuse me, I have all of them. And we didn't even laugh because, yes, even me, I was counting and saying, headaches, frequent infections, all those things, muscular twitches, fatigue, those things, they're signs of stress. And they should tell you there's something wrong, isn't it? Yes. Don't take them as normal things. When you have constant headaches, why? If you're drinking water properly and you're okay, you're not supposed to have any headaches. How many of those do you possess? Let us start by balancing our wheel of life. Yes, slowly by slowly. So that's all I wanted to share with you as Immaculate closes, as she finishes her session. Does anybody have questions, burning questions on this topic? You can see it's very wide, isn't it? Very wide, but at least let's start from somewhere. At least on a personal level from today, we know where we need to start, isn't it? When you're feeling stressed out, most likely one of these things is not going on very well, or 2 of them, or 3 of them. And now you have an indication of where should I start, isn't it? Yeah. So you now also need to know, I need to make a plan of how to improve. So this tool really, really helped me. Any questions? I don't want to knock out questions. Thank you very much, Paul.
Yes.
Today come and close for us because I actually come. There's a question?
No,
When we talk about mental health, mental illness, it is something very wide, as you said. You find that because I have seen this, I've experienced it, and I've seen it in families where they do not have anybody with a mental problem. And it happens is that they get somebody abruptly, somebody runs mad. I wanted us discuss about the thing of madness, because we're speaking about mind and mental health. You'll be there. Is there a lesson? I can be understanding it differently, and you understand it differently. These people that becomes mad, I don't know whether you are getting what I'm saying, because now we have said you can have issues, you're stressed, you're what, but a kid of 4 years becomes mad. What is stressing her?
Immaculate. That's a very good question.
I'd like to share that as well.
Yes.
Thank you for the question. So it's very true that there's a lot that we might not have managed to cover. So what we call that, it is psychosis or schizophrenia. And as you say, there are many different factors that cause these mental illnesses. And we mentioned that there is genetic. Genetic is where it runs in the family. It might not be in all generations, but you might find or trace that there was someone in the family who had that illness. It might also be biological. That means the neurotransmitters that work in the brain to ensure normal functioning of the body might either be little or in excess, or there's just a problem. You know, our body works because of the functionings of the brain. How I am moving my hands, I am moving around, even my being able to talk, sleep, do everything, it is the functioning of the brain. And so we need to know that the brain, just like any other part of the body, might become defective. And most of the time that is normally in the chemical that allow us to be able to do all these things. So that is what we mean by biological. Those chemicals are what I'm calling neurotransmitters that might be defective. So chemicals, the drugs that one is given are now in line with the defect that the neurotransmitters have. Again, as we said, it might be out of social issues. And now that is where issues, for example, of the progression of depression comes in. As we have seen, we start with onset, mild, and then severe. So sometimes it might even start with stress, the normal day-to-day stresses that we are going through. After a while, it develops into depression. And because we saw the symptoms, we can tell probably this person is going through depression. And still, if it is not dealt with, sometimes depression actually leads to psychosis and schizophrenia. And to be very practical, we have probably seen someone who we know they have been going through stress. So we have seen all these changes in behavior, mood, they kept to themselves a lot, they became withdrawn and isolated. Slowly by slowly, you see this person is neglecting themselves, physically, appearance, they are eating, they are sleeping, and hygiene. After a while, this person is walking around talking to themselves. Well, I'm not saying talking to yourself is a sign of schizophrenia, because most of us do, and it's actually a good practice to talk to yourself, catch up with yourself, tell yourself a story. Yes. Yes. So it's not always a sign of psychosis, but we have seen someone now, as they walk, they're talking to themselves, they're neglecting to themselves, eventually leads to the psychosis or the schizophrenia. So it might be that progression from depression, or it might be any of the other factors that lead to mental health issues, which, as we said, are very many. It's a convergence of factors. We cannot say it is one specific factor, and especially because of the age. For example, you say that this is a small child. Yeah, it could be in the family, it could be biological. Yeah.
Yeah, because according to the solutions you gave,
Yeah.
when I was watching out here, if you have such a person,
Yeah.
it will be hard for you to make her or him
Yeah.
to be part of this. But at least for me or anybody else who is older can manage. So, okay, if I have this, I have to do that, according to the way we are teaching. But this such a person, and the way I find an issue that scientists, sometimes they don't group it, or they don't determine it as a sickness. They say a disorder,
Yes.
which is a problem now. How do you find a disorder? Because disorder of a younger kid, 4 years, has been okay, no problem, no nothing, and from nowhere, she begins to, the mind, you see there is a problem on the mind.
Yeah.
Yeah, you cannot advise that kid that, you know what, stop doing this, or do this, or do this, or do this. I think that's why very many people have ended up into different problems. And Africanism, you know, maybe they have bewitched the kid, maybe they have done so forth, maybe they have done that. So I think that in this, what I was trying to mean, I don't know whether you're understanding that side.
Yes, yes. You're creating a very important point.
Yeah, because for us, we know that, okay, if it is happening, you can say, no, brother, you are not in your mind. Do A, B, C, D. But there is an issue like that. A kid of 4 years, a kid of 5 years, a kid of 3 years. And in the family, no one has ever been mad. You can, according to the way you're saying that, biologically, because according to the way I'm getting, when you are talking that, if it is biologically coming, then you solve it biologically. If it is spiritually coming, then solve it spiritually, according to the way I'm getting. But how do we deal with such people? And how do you, like you, a teacher now, you are teaching, which solution do you give to such a person? Like he's seated, the kid is like that, And I don't know whether what I have is what you are getting.
Yes,
Let me-
we are going to
let-
do the job.
Yeah.
Let him chill.
Hallelujah. I think you've raised a very important issue there. Okay? Sometimes when we talk about mental ill health, we are not talking about things like you have mentioned, which she has qualified as psychosis or mania,
Yes.
which we will call madness.
Yes.
We'll call stark madness.